I got pretty good at modern Greek in about 8 months. And this is a set of strategies and tactics that are applicable to any language. I've used them pretty successfully for French. I think the first thing is people got to talk. From the very first day, like your focus has got to be on talking. Um, yeah, just like try to talk, try to get conversational. And I think a practical way to do this is like imagine you're just starting a language, right? So you go on Google Translate and just like a couple sentences that you would usually say, or like a couple basic simple sentences, just translate them into the target language, translate them into Greek. And after about 10 or 20 sentences, sort of you memorize them, already you can have some conversational fluency, very basic. But also, after those 20 sentences, you'll know enough of the language to sort of get like a second, like an instinct on it. It becomes instinctual, becomes primal, and that's very important. For this entire video, what we're going to try to focus on is developing like an instinct and a feel about the language. We don't want to focus about grammar or about spelling or punctuation. We really want to get that feel. And so you memorize those sentences, you get a feel, and what you'll find is that after those 20 sentences, you can actually mix them up in your head, and really you've got like 30 sentences worth of vocabulary, which is pretty cool. But so you've got your 30 sentences, and then you must just try to speak with them. Like try to speak to someone in the target language, and people love speaking their own language, right? Like they love listening to themselves talk. Everyone likes to act like they're smart and act like they're a teacher. So like just go out, go forth and speak, talk and listen. This is sort of something that was a mindset shift for me when I was learning French. You know, I started the classical way with like a book on grammar and like a textbook. You know, I started with a textbook and sort of I'm reading, I'm absorbing. It's not happening very quickly. It's like I'm doing the grammar. But what I find is that I might be quite good on the textbook. I might be able to do the textbook exercises, but like I struggle to talk, you know? It's like a deer in headlights. You just get like frozen and you don't know how to talk in the target language. So what I propose is to reverse it, to focus on talking from the very beginning. And indeed, this was the most instrumental thing in my French. It was once I started talking to like real French people, that's when the biggest progress came. That helps me more than the textbook. And so it's a strategy that I applied straight away to Greek with great success. So coming to the second point, and it's one that I already hinted on before, but you don't want to care about grammar and punctuation and spelling and all of these academic like concepts. It's people tell you that you need it to learn a language. Really, they're trying to keep you behind because you don't. Think about a child, right? Like how does a 5-year-old, or how did you learn the language in which you are a native? You didn't learn it with grammar or a textbook, right? Think about parenting. You don't teach a child vocabulary and how to spell. No, you talk to him and he listens and he absorbs, and at some point he is able to talk back. And then you talk to him and he talks back to you, and then at some point he starts reading, and then he reads, and then he watches TV, right? And he plays video games in the language. But he doesn't do grammar textbooks. No, I've never done a grammar class in English. I've never had to learn how to spell in English because it's my native language. And so you want to apply the same thing. You don't need grammar. You just talk, talk, talk. And at some point, the concepts just click. Everything works better and you develop an instinct, right? So focus on talking, focus on sort of listening and understanding, and then focus on consuming more content, right? It's a volume game. If you consume 10,000 hours, or not even 10,000, if you consume 1,000 hours of content, you'll get pretty good. So you got to talk, you got to listen, you got to read, you got to watch TV. You know, even in French, it's like for the longest time, I learned French. I tell people I learned French with Stromae, sort of like the artist. And I did actually. He was always like playing in the background, and it's like he talks or he sings, and I listen to him, and like I'll Google the lyrics, and ooh, I've just learned a new word, right? So I think that is sort of a really big mindset shift. That's something that really kept me behind in French, and something that I think is keeping a lot of people behind in languages. And it's something that from the very beginning I avoided in Greek. So that's the first and the second thing. Now the third thing is we've established this as a volume game, but sort of you want it to happen quickly, right? You want it to happen in 8 months as well. And so a way to speed things up, to speed up the volume, is with this glorious thing called flashcards. So the idea of a flashcard is you've got like a question, you see the question, you think of the answer, and then you find the answer, and like the machine gives you the answer, and then you see if your answer was correct. And so it works great, right? It's powered me through medical school to great success, and also works great for languages, right? Actually, there's like sort of like the flashcard app that I think everyone uses. It's called Anki, Anki, but that was originally developed to learn Japanese. And so flashcards for languages are great because you can get a lot more volume in. You can practice reading and you can practice talking with the flashcards without having to be in front of a real person. And that is quite helpful because it means that you can practice anytime, anywhere. It means you can get over the fear that some people might have, like talking in like a foreign language. And then it also means that you can like just do more, right? It's like every spare moment you've got, you're waiting in line, you can just do 5 flashcards. Do 5 flashcards. And very soon you get through a lot of flashcards and you get a lot of volume and you get very good. So just a couple points about the flashcards. I think there are 2 things to keep in mind. You want your flashcard to be structured English to Greek, or like English to your target language. So and it needs to be a sentence. So what I mean by this is that instead of having a single word, like sort of hospital, and then you try to recall the word hospital in Greek, it's nosokomio. But instead of having hospital nosokomio, no, you don't do that. That's the wrong way to do it because it's one word at a time. And you're just memorizing. You don't develop the instinct of the language. And the instinct is what we want to develop. So instead on the flashcard, you've got to have a sentence like, I was going to the hospital when a car ran a red light. You know, thing. So you want to have the sentence on the front in English. And then on the back, you have the same sentence in Greek. So you look at it in English. You try to recall the answer. You know, you speak it out. And then you hit your space button, and it shows you the answer of the flashcard, and then you see if it's right or it's wrong. And that's pretty cool. That's also a huge unlock in your language learning journey. I've spoken about a lot. It was content dense. It's an uncompressible video, as some would say. And so to spare you from having to watch it again a second time, I've written down sort of the key points here, the key things to focus upon. So first point, talk a lot. Second point, focus on speaking and listening, and then on reading. Writing and grammar will come naturally. You don't have to worry about them. At some point it clicks. For the longest time, I was illiterate in French. I didn't know how to spell, and at some point it clicked. Same thing in Greek. I'm not worried about my spelling. Even right now, it's very rusty, but at some point it'll click once I consume enough content. Third point, consume original content, consume, movies and things from real people and books and things that are genuinely interesting. Don't consume academic content. Don't care about the textbooks and the workbooks and the grammar tables. It's all a complete waste of time. Once again, we think back to the child. How does a child learn a language? How did you learn the language in which you are native? It was by consuming language original content. Fourth point, do flashcards. Thank you very much. I hope you got some value, and I hope this saves you a lot of time.